am beyond excited to talk to you. I got goosebumps a little bit, so pardon me. I'm going to try to make it through this interview without fanboying so much.
No worries.
No worries, but I want to let you know, my name is Omar Rodriguez. I live in Ashland, Oregon. We have a show called The Metal Mixtape. We throw festivals, we do interviews, we do reactions, but one thing we really love to do is just help out bands, you know, whether they need to go somewhere to get their logo done, merch done, need someone to get their show booked. We're all about helping smaller bands and all that. But Andrea, Lacuna Coil, man. So I want to tell you how I got into your band. Ozfest 2004. You guys,
wow.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
2004, you guys were doing the meet and greet and everything, man. And I remember meeting you guys. I was 15 years old. I'm 33 now.
Oh, wow.
I know, 15 or 14. I remember you guys were being super cool, and you guys were giving out free Ozfest posters. I don't know if it was like Jägermeister.
Oh yeah, the Jägermeister. Like I think. Yes.
Yeah, yes. And I remember meeting you guys, and it was so insane. So 18 years later, here we are, man. And
here we are.
and now we're talking about the remaster of is it Comalies?
Comalies, yes.
Yeah, sweet. I'm happy I pronounced that right. Sweet. You know.
Yes.
But man, but first of all, you know, before we get into that, because me and my friend Aaron listened to that nonstop last night, and we just loved how everything got so amplified in the album. Like so many things popped out in all the songs that I went back and forth constantly, right? And I was like, wait, I don't remember that part. I don't remember certain things amplified, and it's almost like listening to a really new record, you know?
I mean, it is in a way, yes.
Yeah, like
we've been. No, that's correct. Go on.
Oh no, but I was just saying, like one of the biggest things. Like I remember, probably my favorite song ever, "Daylight Dancer." You know, and I remember just listening to that song again, and I was like, this sounds like a completely different song. You know, it sounds so much more like I don't want to say like orchestrated, but just big. The sound sounds big.
That one is probably one of the most diverse, like the ones that actually change quite a lot compared to the original. Although there are some others that are more close to the version of Comalies, like Swamp, for example. But I know we try to depending on what was coming on the arrangement, we try to refresh it, keeping the essence of the song, but also give it a more contemporary sound, and also try to make it fit more with Lacuna Coil in 2022, which is a different lineup, different sounds from the last couple of records. So it is a bit more dark, but more gothic, this version, I think, and also more heavy in a way, for sure. So we tried to refresh it, trying to keep in the spirit of the original Comalies, because we wanted to be a celebration. You know, we didn't want to erase the original or forget or try to make it better. You know, it was more like a tribute, and we didn't want to do just a remaster of the record, because when you remaster, basically you just compress the files and you make it sound louder. You know, it's nothing changed, basically. So instead of that, talking to the label, we say, why don't we do something a bit more challenging for ourselves, for the fans as well, obviously. And we knew that some people was gonna love it, some people was gonna hate it, because it's kind of our holy grail as an album, you know. So it's hard to touch it and change it and give it a new vibe, you know. But we on all the physical versions, we've tried to keep also the original Comalies and the original artwork as well. So just to show you that it's a tribute, you know, it's not about erasing the past, but it's about celebrating the bond and the legacy of the record.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know, I was reading some of your interviews and articles, you talking about this, you know. Also, you know, in 20 years we change as people, you know, and as individuals, I think our ears changed, you know. I think maybe like, was there a thing where like you went back to revisit some songs and maybe just like, you know, like you maybe as a person and maybe as a musician, you changing maybe like had a lot to do with the influence with of going through all these songs again? Do you think maybe that had to do something with it?
No, I think mostly the good thing has been that to go back, and especially because that the original Comalies was recorded in analog on tape. So we didn't have the Pro Tools and that stuff. So we had to really listen carefully to every arrangement to reproduce it and then eventually change it, you know. So especially Marco, the bass player, which is the main songwriter of the band, had to do this operation, and it was hard for him, especially to understand where was the line when you change a song. If it's too much, it's too far from the original, or it's not far enough, So we it's been a lot of going back and thinking why we were doing certain things in certain ways and certain moods. So it's been very, very fun to do, even if it wasn't easy. It was almost like doing a full new record, it took a bunch of times and think and thought on it, but definitely it was fun to go back to the memories a little bit and to also record it in a different way, but trying to keep the spirit with the same lyrics. So it's been a fun operation to do, for sure.
I love it, man. For me, going back, it was really nostalgic, and it kind of brings me up to this next question. Is like, it's like, now that you're kind of looking back and like, you've had this massive career, man. You guys have just gone all over the world and played with all these bands. Like if you were to talk to yourself as a little kid, is this like everything you expected it to be? Like me, like playing with these big bands, like, and also like Lacuna Coil has like such a cult following. Like you guys have a lot of people that really love this. Like, does it sometimes blow your mind? Like maybe like when you were a little kid and wanting all of this, and now there's like people out there that love you, the pressures, like is it everything you expected it to be?
I think it's much more than what we expected it to be, because when we started, we were this little gothic metal band from Milano, Italy, and we had no expectation of an international career or 20 years career, something like that, because obviously coming from Italy, there was not much history about other bands that would have done the same kind of careers. And contrary to places like England, Germany, or Scandinavia, they always had bands since the 80s that has been becoming international bands, and the Scorpions and Rammstein and so many. But Italy never had that, on that level. So it was beyond every expectation. We thought maybe we do a couple of records, maybe we do some tours, we get to do this for a few years, but we never thought this could become our job or a career, or to tour the world, or to be selling certain numbers of records. That's something completely out of every possible expectation we had, because there was no history about that, and we never thought it was even possible for an Italian band to do this.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's absolutely amazing. And like especially like you being on vocals, man, like was there a harsh reality or a lesson you had to learn, like on the road, like having to do shows constantly, like maybe like, because I know like some bands that maybe like don't break out, maybe they'll do a couple tours there, a couple shows here, they won't put that stress on themselves. Was was that like a whole new thing of like growing up you had to do on tour, like to live that lifestyle?
Yeah. Most of the things we've learned through touring and recording, and definitely you learn a lot, and also the fact that we have two singers, we get to learn also how to balance the vocals inside the songs, when we songwrite. So it's been a constant learning process, also about vocals, about how you preserve your voice on tour. And sometimes it's just not possible. Sometimes your voice will get fucked or tired, and there's nothing you can do. You have to do the best you can with what you have. And sometimes you try to behave and don't drink and don't party, but sometimes it's just hard, because after a few shows you want to have that little time for yourself or hanging out with somebody. So there will be a time where you're gonna fuck up, but there's no other way to do it. So yeah, you learn tricks to preserve your voice, but also you sometimes you will just have to suffer. You have to go through it and just do it. There's not so many secrets. There's only a few things you can really do to preserve the voice, but then you might still get a flu or a cold on tour, and then or somebody else will get it, and obviously inside the tour bus is going to spread, and so there's not much you can do. You can only behave as much as you can, warm up a little bit, stuff like that. But it's mostly your vocal cord will strengthen with the practice. Obviously, the more you sing, the more you become a solid singer, and you learn what you can do or what you can't do. Because sometimes some stuff that you can come easy in the studio, and it's very hard to reproduce live because obviously you don't hear as well, or there's different conditions. And so you keep learning, and you know yourself better, and you know where to push and where not to push, or where it's the right way for you to sing or not. So it's a constant learning process for sure. Even now, the most recent thing is that no matter how good studio you can have, certain performance that you do in the demos, you'll never be able to redo in the studio. Yeah. Just because that the one day you were feeling super well with a lot of breath, perfect voice, the weather was perfect, and you sung it relaxed in the practice or in the home studio. And then you go in the studio and you have the stress because you have to record it in certain number of days and stuff. And you will never catch the same performance. So the performance on the demo sometimes you never match it. You can go close to it, but you'll never match it because that one day you can't feel the same as you felt feeling that day.
Yeah.
No, it's a constant process.
Absolutely, man. No, it sounds like it. Have you ever played a show where that like your voice was done and you just knew you had to stick around that hour, like on stage, knowing that like knowing that you mentally had to battle it, and also you have to have fun knowing you can't do it, because your fans are out there, you don't, they want to let it down. Like, you ever had a show like that where like you just had to like, fuck, okay, I just gotta concentrate.
I have plenty of shows like that, but most of the time people never realize, it's all you think you sucked and you had a terrible show and you're sorry for the people but then everybody says, oh, it was a great show. You sounded like never before. It's always like that. For me, but also for Christina, when she thinks she sucks, or we think as a band, we think, oh, we were tired. We didn't give a good performance and a good enough performance. There was no enough energy. And then people come to you and say, oh, it was the best show of my life, something like that. So it's only your impression, and it's going to be very different from the ones of everybody else. So I think we have enough experience that whatever we do, we have a certain standard that even if you're not in great shape, or you can still bring the show home in a decent way, So I think we got that from the experience, but sometimes we don't even realize it.
Yeah. No, I dig it, man. I dig it. This next question, man, it's actually from my friend Jonathan Zero in a band called Pitch Black Mass in Oregon. He asked, he's been listening to you guys since Unleashed Memories, and what he's amazed in is that you guys have continual growth without chasing trends while still keeping the Lacuna Coil sound. What do you attribute this to?
One thing is that we have learned in the years that when you try to do something that doesn't belong to you, that you don't really feel, people is going to notice. When you're honest, like when we did our switch on Delirium, when we went heavier with more growl vocals, more double bass, in the beginning we thought, oh, maybe it's too much for the people to get, because they're not used to have a certain heaviness from Lacuna Coil. But then we say, but what we can do, it's the way Marco's been writing the songs. In this way, it made sense to do more growl vocals, more heavy riffs or double bass. So what should we do? We should try to make it softer just to be the usual Lacuna Coil, or we just go for it and we just try and see what people say. And we decided to try, and people realized that it was a honest tried, and so they appreciated and paid back, So I think that honesty always pays back in music. And people realize when you're real, when you try to sound like something you're not, first of all, it's very hard for you to write material that you don't feel. And second, people is going to notice, and I think that's the only secret, is to try and do something. If you don't feel anymore to do a metal record, then don't do a metal record, because if you don't feel it, if you're not in that taste anymore, then it's very hard to write. That's why a lot of big bands, when they come out with the new album, it's decent, but it's not what it used to be. But not because they can't write songs anymore, but because they don't have that fire anymore, because their life changed, they got kids, they got family, they moved somewhere else, they became rich. There are a million reasons, why some bands lose that touch, and it's not because they don't like it anymore or they don't do it consciously. I think it's just something that happens with life. You grow up and you have different interests, and music is not your only focus anymore, and when you lose that, it's very hard. Even if you're a very good musician, very good instrumentalist or vocalist, you're still going to do a decent product, but it's never going to have that same fire because you're not that same person anymore, you know, in those years.
No, you're 100% right, and that just makes 100% sense, and you know, it doesn't make sense too, like when you see bands get signed, because at first, you know, they don't have all like the tools of recording that they would have in a big studio, you know, and I've seen bands just make complete leaps just by just getting the opportunity to, because I mean, I'm sure you sound different in a bigger studio than you would in a smaller studio. You know, I'm sure you've gotten some big opportunities in some massive studios where you're just like, do we sound like that?
But it's not, I think it's not always that, you know. I mean, sometimes having a great studio, it's useful, obviously, but sometimes it can be also distracting because you can use so many tools, sometimes even being in a tighter environment, sometimes gives you the push of, you have to do things now. You're only here to record. You're not here to chill out, to drink, or to do something distracting. You know, sometimes having the smaller studio, it gives you that extra push because you're here to work. You don't want to stay here any longer than necessary because it's tiny, it's not comfortable, it's not chilled, you know, and you don't have you don't have space to get your friends there, so you don't waste time sometimes. So it depends. I think I've tried both. Both are enjoyable. But depends on the record. I think it depends on the record you want to do. In recent times, we always use a not so big studio because we felt more comfortable and like that.
I love it, man. No, that's so great. Happy I got to hear that perspective of it. So is there somebody you've met on tour that you're really happy wasn't an asshole? That were really cool to you, like maybe somebody you saw from afar and you're like, holy shit, we're playing this festival, like I hope if I run into this guy, he isn't a complete dick or girl. Like, was there somebody like that you met that you were just like, man, I'm happy that person was cool?
Yeah. I not that I thought they were an axle, but I thought it was some difficult characters like Danzig or Dave Mustaine. I thought that would have been hard to tour with them because they're known to be not so easy to work with, you know. But for us, it was the opposite. We had a great time with both. Actually, Dave, every time we tour with Dave multiple times, and every time he gave us like a bottle of champagne to welcome us to the tour, and he hang out, and it was always very cool. And also Glenn Danzig, I remember when we toured together, he was inviting us after the show to his boss, talking about he's a big comic book fan, so he knew all of the comic. Yeah, especially horror comic books. So he knew all the Italian ones from the 70s, from the 80s. He's a collector, you know. He got a lot of stuff that I never thought you would even know, you know, because they're all in Italian. But he is amazing. And so I was always very positive surprised by this character that I thought would have been maybe not so easy to tour with, you know.
I love it, man. So one of the things I saw a couple 2 or 3 days ago, a big show announcement. And I saw Lacuna Coil on it, Sick New World, right?
Yes.
Dude,
actually,
holy shit! Are you fucking shitting yourself?
I also found out about the complete bill yesterday, like the other day when we put the because I know that we got booked for this festival. I knew there's going to be System of a Down and Deftones and Korn, but I didn't know about the rest of the bill. So when I saw it, I said, "Wow, this is amazing!" And it's everybody's there, and also it's a good mix of like a little bit of the new metal with also a lot of the gothic band as well. You know, the Sister of Mercy, London After Midnight, all those bands like the 69 Eyes. So it's a great combination because it's exactly in between of what we are as a band as well. You know, with the bands we grew up with, and so it was amazing to see. I don't even know how they can let all this band play in the same day. You know, I have to figure it out. But it's great. It's great to be part of such a great lineup, and in Vegas, so it's going to be also a little vacation, maybe something like that, you know. So I'm very excited.
So when you see a big festival like this, and like, you see a bunch of your like, if you have a bunch of friends on there, are you immediately like texting your friends like, "Hey man, we're hanging out in Vegas. Like, I'll see you there. We should go eat something." Is that how your conversations go?
Yeah, and on Instagram or stuff like that, we always exchange. Are we gonna see you? Even when the dates come out, which festival are you doing? Are you doing this in Germany? This and that? Especially with American bands that they come to Europe for the festival in the summer, you know. And so we don't get to see them so often. and so we get the opportunity to meet. So we always exchange the dates and see where we're gonna meet. Yes.
I love it. Dude, that is so sick, man. Yeah, I've always wondered about how that goes, you know, especially like seeing you play with the other bands that you've toured before and all that. I'm just like, I bet everybody just a bunch of homies, just like, hey man, we're going to
yeah, or even when they come to Milan in our hometown to play a show, we usually hang out, if there is time, obviously. We take them out for dinner in a restaurant here, something like that. You know, we like to hang out with the people, because in the end of the day, yes, we're musicians, but we're also friends. You know, we're also human being, and a good time together for maybe a month or two on tour. So it's just great to see them again, you know, and catch up on life a little bit.
Dude, absolutely, brother. Before we end this interview, can I throw you 3 completely random ass questions?
Yes, sure.
Okay. If you could choose your death, but it had to be by somebody in a horror movie, who would you choose to kill you, and how would they kill you?
Probably creatively wise, maybe Saw could be the movie. So the Jigsaw could study something crazy, you know, like a pizza trap, like a trap with pizza where I go get my pizza and I get stuck in some needles or something like that, you know. And yeah. So you can have a lot of different deaths when you're on Saw.
Oh man, that's fucking, I love it, man. Okay, in a zombie apocalypse, you only could have one weapon to kill the zombie horde. What is that one weapon?
Probably the crossbow, like Daryl from Walking Dead, you know. Crossbow.
And from Dusk Till Dawn.
And Dusk Till Dawn as well. Yeah,
the crossbow too. Yeah, I love it. Dude, okay. For the last question, is there one band that you grew up listening to that you thought was a little underrated and wish got more attention?
I think
like for me, I always thought Grim Reaper should have been bigger. Okay. I thought Steve Grimmett was amazing, and I thought they should have been on a lot of these bigger tours. Like, so
yeah. No, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot, especially a lot of European bands. Sometimes they don't get to tour the States because it's expensive and you need a visa. So sometimes a lot of the bands that maybe do well here, they won't get the exposure in America. So maybe I think like a band like 69 Eyes, for example, from Finland, they have a lot of great songs. You know, it's true that their style is not so various, you know, they kind of their formula and they stick to it. But I have to say that they have many, many great songs, great melodies that could appeal also to a rock and roll kind of audience, you know, so they could have been a radio band, I think. At least for classic rock kind of stuff. So they're not a small band anyway, but they could have been even bigger, I think.
I love it, man. Well, hey, Andrea, thank you so much for being on the Metal Mixtape. You made my night. You made everybody on the Pacific Northwest. It's gonna be fucking excited. Comalies, it came out. It's like everybody who's listening right now, please listen to it. If you're a huge fan of Lacuna Coil, everything is amazing. If you're new to Lacuna Coil, please fucking listen to them because they're fucking awesome. And last but not least, man, hey, I'm gonna take a screenshot, but give me that metal horns really quick, so that way I can show my friends how amazing you are. Thank you, brother. Oh, you're awesome. And
thank you very much.
Last but not least, can you say this is Andrea from Lacuna Coil, and you're listening to the Metal Mixtape?
Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Andrea from Lacuna Coil, and you're listening to the Metal Mixtape. Yeah.
Brother, have a great week. Have a safe weekend. I'm gonna save up my money to go see you in Las Vegas. Have a great rest of your day, brother.
So see you soon.
I will, brother, and I'm gonna be do meet and greets so I can go meet you.
Okay, we will.